Ladies and gentlemen, imagine this. After spending decades nurturing, sacrificing, teaching, and giving your best to raise children, the very ones who once held your finger to take their first step, they now walk past you as if you're invisible. It hurts deeply, but today, I want to tell you something important. You are not powerless. Growing old in itself is a badge of honor. It means you have lived, loved, and learned. Yet one of the most painful chapters for many elders is not illness, not financial hardship, but emotional neglect, especially by their own children. When the tree grows old, its roots reach deeper into the earth. It does not sway easily even when the winds are strong. In the same way, as we grow older, we must return to our own center, to the root of who we are. This becomes especially important when those we nurtured begin to drift away, not out of necessity, but by choice. When children whom we raised with love no longer see us, no longer listen, no longer care in the ways we once imagined they would, the heart begins to ache. But there is a great misunderstanding here. The pain does not come only from their actions. It comes from how we see ourselves through their eyes. A wise man once said, "The sun does not care who basks in its light. It shines regardless." Your worth is like the sun. It cannot be taken, only forgotten, and only if you allow yourself to forget. When your children ignore you, when they fail to respect you, the greatest mistake is believing that this is a reflection of your value. It is not. A mirror only reflects what that stands before it. If the mirror is cracked, what it shows is not reality, but distortion. When someone sees you through the lens of entitlement, selfishness, or ego, they will only see a version of you that serves their feelings. It has nothing to do with truth. As people grow, they carry with them different understandings, wounds, and illusions. Your child may have forgotten the nights you stayed awake, the meals you skipped, the tears you hid. But memory is not the measure of love. Action is, and your actions were pure. So how others receive them or fail to is not a judgment of your spirit. It is a test of theirs. In the stillness of a forest, the oldest trees do not complain about the younger ones. They stand tall, weathered, and strong. They have seen the seasons. They know that respect cannot be demanded, and presence cannot be forced. There is a lesson in this stillness. You do not need to raise your voice to be heard. You do not need to explain your pain to be validated. You need only to sit with yourself long enough to remember that you are already complete. When people speak about staying calm, they often misunderstand. They think calmness is weakness, that it means you have given up, that you have no fire left. But calmness is not emptiness. It is a full cup that does not spill, even when shaken. When your children raise their voice, or worse, stay silent, when they forget to call, to visit, to care, staying calm is your shield. Not because you do not feel, but because you have learned that reacting from emotion only feeds the cycle that causes you suffering. Think of a pond. If you throw a stone into it, the surface ripples. The deeper the water, the more gracefully it receives the stone. Be that deep water. Let things land. Let them ripple, but do not let them stir your depth. Emotional regulation is not for their benefit. It is for yours. Because each outburst, each tear held in too long, each sleepless night over something you cannot control, all of it steals from your health. The body and the mind are not two. They are one movement. When your mind is agitated, the body pays the price. The heart becomes heavy, the breath becomes shallow, the immune system weakens. And so, the first discipline is not to change your children. It is to change your response. Let me share a short story. An elderly woman once came to a master and said, "My son does not visit me. He does not answer my calls. I feel invisible." The master poured her a cup of tea, then overfilled it. The tea spilled onto the floor. She gasped. He said, "This is you. You keep pouring into someone who cannot receive. And now, you are empty, and they are drowning." She asked, "Then what should I do?" He said, "Pour into yourself first. Fill your cup. Let those who thirst come to drink when they are ready." This is the essence of emotional regulation. You do not allow your peace to be dictated by absence. You become the well that fills itself. You rest. You eat with joy. You move your body with care. You speak kindly to yourself. This is not self-indulgence. It is self-preservation. The world has taught us to give everything, but rarely does it teach how to retreat, how to recharge. Now is the time for that lesson. Aging is not a decline. It is a refinement. And refined things are handled gently. So handle yourself gently. If a child forgets you, forgive them, not for their sake, but to free yourself from carrying their ignorance in your chest. Aging also brings with it a sharp clarity. You see through games, through drama, through ego. Use this clarity to see your own value. Not because of what you've done, but because of who you are. A soul that has endured, a heart that has loved, a life that has given and continues to give. Do not confuse silence with defeat. Sometimes, the greatest power is found in non-reaction. A calm smile, a nod, a walk in the garden when others expect you to weep. You show your power by not falling apart. This does not mean you are cold. It means you are rooted. A tree does not chase after its fallen leaves. Let what needs to fall, fall. Let what wishes to return, return. But in the meantime, you continue growing, reaching upward, deepening inward. When you begin to see that your self-worth is independent of how others treat you, you begin to take your power back, not through force, through presence, through grace. If they call, answer. If you wish, if they visit, welcome them with love. But do not build your life around hope that may never come. Build your life around peace that is always within there. There's a time in life when we parent our children, and then there may come a time when we must parent ourselves. Speak to yourself as you once did to them. You are doing your best, you are loved, you matter. What you say to yourself now is more important than anything they could ever say, because the voice you hear most often is your own. Let it be kind, let it be steady, let it remind you your roots are deep, your presence is powerful, and your life is still your own. A bowl that is already full cannot receive anything new. In the same way, a heart constantly entangled in expectations cannot experience peace. When a parent grows old, and their child once held gently in arms no longer shows the same love or attention, the emotional weight becomes heavy. But, holding on too tightly to what should be only invites suffering. There is a way to live without carrying the burden of unmet expectations. That way begins with detachment, not out of coldness but out of wisdom. Detachment does not mean you stop caring. It means you understand the limits of your control. You understand that while you may love deeply, the reactions of others are not within your hands. Just like a bird released into the sky, your child has flown into their own life, their own world, and if they return, they return. If not, you do not clip your own wings by waiting endlessly. There is an old saying, let go or be dragged. Holding on to the need for respect, attention, or love from someone who has chosen otherwise is like tying yourself to a moving cart. You will be pulled across stones, torn by every jolt. Detachment allows you to untie yourself, to walk your own path without bruises. It is not about giving up on people, it is about refusing to abandon yourself in the process. There was a woman who spent her days waiting by the phone. Her children had moved abroad. Months would pass, sometimes years, without a word. Every ring of the phone brought a flicker of hope, followed by the echo of disappointment. One day a neighbor saw her crying and asked, "Why do you wait?" She replied, "Because that's what mothers do." But slowly, she began to change. She joined a reading circle. She started to garden. She began painting again, a hobby forgotten in the busyness of raising her family. One morning the phone rang. It was her son. She smiled and spoke kindly. But when he asked, "Do you wait for my call every day?" she replied, "I used to. Now I wait for the sunrise. I wait for the flowers to bloom. I wait for life." In her detachment, she did not grow bitter, she grew whole. True detachment is born from the understanding that your worth does not shrink just because someone else does not notice it. Detachment does not require a loud announcement or conflict. It is the silent decision to preserve your energy, your health, and your joy. It is a quiet boundary that whispers, "I will love, but I will not lose myself again." This approach protects the heart. Emotional wounds caused by neglect or disrespect from children often run deep because they pierce not just your feelings, they challenge your identity as a parent. But identity must evolve. You were once a protector, a guide, a provider. Now you must also become your own healer. Healing begins the moment you realize that peace is not given to you, it is chosen by you. When the river flows and you try to hold the water in your hands, it slips through. But if you simply let your hands rest in the stream, you feel its coolness without losing it. Relationships too are like water. When you cling, you lose. When you allow, you experience. Do not hold too tightly to those who have chosen distance. Hold loosely, with kindness for them and for yourself. From detachment comes clarity, and with clarity you begin to see what still remains in your control. You begin to see the wisdom that has ripened in you, the strength that has been quietly forged through years of living. This brings us to the second part, understanding that you are not powerless, that even in old age, you are a force of life. Aging is not the end of capability, it is the refining of it. You no longer move as fast, but you move with purpose. You no longer chase time, but you sit with it. What you once gave to children, you can now give to yourself. The meals, the care, the comforting words, why should they stop? Give them to your own body, your own soul. When we say that a person still holds power, it is not the power to command or control others. It is the power to shape their own experience, to redirect their focus, to deepen their stillness. This is no small power. A candle does not shout to light the room, it simply burns. In the same way, your presence has its own light. But first, you must learn to sit in that light, without rushing to place it in someone else's hands. There is a monk who used to sweep the temple grounds every morning. When asked why, he would smile and say, "Because it teaches me that no matter how much has passed, I can still keep things clean." The act of sweeping was symbolic. It reminded him that even if life becomes dusty, even if others bring dirt into his space, he has the power to clear it. This is how you must now care for your own spirit. Each day, clear what has settled, the regrets, the disappointments, the longing. Sweep them gently from your heart. Your story is not over. Even if your children have turned away, even if the love is not returned in the way you hoped, you still have pages left to write, stories to share, people to meet, moments to breathe deeply and live fully. Power also lies in presence. Sit with another elder who feels invisible, and let your shared silence be medicine. Volunteer where your experience is valued. Teach someone younger not by telling them what to do, but by showing them how to be. You are still a teacher, not of lessons, but of life. It is easy to fall into the trap of believing that aging means fading. But the truth is that what fades is often only what was never truly you. The roles, the expectations, the masks. What remains is raw, real, and resilient. The laughter that still bubbles up. The tears that still flow. The wisdom that no book can teach. Power is also knowing when to say no, when to rest, when to protect your time, when to stop chasing those who don't wish to be caught. You are no longer bound to perform. You are now free to simply be. Let your days be filled with meaning even if no one else sees it. Let your body move gently, your meals be taken slowly, your prayers be whispered with intention. This is power, quiet, consistent, and unshakable. And if, one day your children return, let them find you not waiting in sorrow, but blooming, in your own space. Let them see a parent who is not begging to be seen but already full of life. This alone may become their lesson. That love, when withheld, does not kill. But love, when cultivated within, creates a strength that no one can take. There is a saying, he who has mastered himself is greater than he who has conquered 1,000 men in battle. This is the invitation of aging. To master your mind, to soften your heart, to walk in peace. When the world forgets to recognize your value, remember, the tree does not ask for applause when it bears fruit. It simply continues to grow. Ask ChatGPT*, so what should you do when they forget their manners? When they ignore your calls? When birthdays and holidays pass without their visit? Do this, reclaim your energy. Channel it into friendships, community, and your own passions. Reignite the dreams you put on hold. Join a group, take a walk in the park, read that book, paint, sing, write your story. You lived for them, now it's time to live for you. Detach emotionally without growing bitter. Bitterness is like a poison you drink, hoping it affects others. But indifference born from calm awareness, that's your shield. Don't let anyone, not even your own child, control the thermostat of your inner peace. Also, keep your boundaries firm. You don't have to tolerate disrespect. You don't have to beg for attention. A simple message like, I'm always here if you wish to reconnect, but I won't chase what doesn't want to stay, is more powerful than any argument. And here's something else. Don't allow loneliness to lie to you. You are not alone in this. Many seniors suffer in silence. But silence is not the answer, connection is. Reach out. Maybe not to them, but to others, neighbors, support groups, people who value your wisdom. Let someone hear your voice. Let someone see your light. You see, growing old isn't the end of your story. It's the chapter where the main character you learns to write a new narrative, not one of regret, but of resilience. If your children turn away, don't let your heart turn bitter. Let it turn inward to strength, outward to purpose, forward to peace, because while they may forget your worth, you must never forget it. Thank you.